are here with Ron Servant in the Man Cave Experience with the amazing, spectacular, fantastic Cedric Edison.
What's up? What's up?
How are you, man? Just tell me what's going good in your world, and then we'll talk about what's going not so good in your world.
What's going good? Oh man. Uh well, we have multiple vehicles. We're not a single vehicle family, so that was a whole roller coaster ride. I guess you can say I'm a dad to a toddler now. When they turn one, I guess they're a toddler and not a baby. Um, Man, that's going good and just celebrating that I'm here, dude. Um, and haven't really given up the fight. Like I'm still here, still in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all the
Hmm.
major good stuff. What's
Nice.
good with you?
What is good with me? Just kind of feeling. I wouldn't say the same as you, but just a lot of things going on, and not seeing a lot of fruits for my labor, but still working hard. Just kind of in a lot of different areas, and just I guess just trusting that we show up here, we wake up each day with intentions of doing good things for ourselves and for our loved ones and in the world. Um, and just I guess feeling still committed to that, knowing that life can be tough at times, and life can not be easy, or life can be a bigger challenge than we think. Sometimes we're willing to kind of continue on, and I think that lended itself to us you know having the conversation tonight. But first of all, I just want to reach out to you guys, the listeners that have stuck with us, and truly appreciate just the fact that you follow us. We know you can't, in your busy schedules, be here live with us all the time, or just connect with us every week. But we're here. We're going to be here as we continue moving forward in our life. But just kind of checking in today with the topic around just the daily struggles, and how when we're in the grind of doing something new, or something that we're kind of creating something that takes time, right? Time to build a foundation, and just not giving up the hope and the dreams that we started this whole journey of coaching on. Um, and I'm just curious for you, Seth, because I know when you checked in, you said you're still here. You haven't quit. Um, what's coming up for you right now as you sit here with me today that gives you reason to continue on, to not give up, to continue this journey, not knowing where it's going to lead you to?
Oh man, good question. Hmm. The the big picture that I saw, of my future.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And where,
that
where, did,
and
where did you see that picture? Where was that? Where did you visualize that?
Like, what you mean? Like, where was I in the vision, or
Yeah,
like
when
where was I when I had the vision? Like,
both. I mean, where and how and when did you sense this vision, and when did you feel like you're not as connected to it as you might be as you sit here today?
um, like it's grown, like I can the one part that I can pinpoint is after my surgery, immediately.
Right.
Like once I'm was aware, not really coming out of the anesthesia type part, I I knew something was big and it was still gray. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And I started listening to people, the ETs, like my little routine. But I think it really hit me when I first enrolled in BAC, like the school, and it was like, okay, man, like this is what I want to do. Like the tools that I can get from here is what I want to do. And then that's when, it kind of goes into, I see myself, speaking to large crowds, helping large crowds of people. I
Mhm.
can't necessarily say when and where I'm gonna be, but I know it's a lot of people, and then the material side. I saw that portion too. Um, and it's all really based on the capability that I know I have. Um, because I can remember when my senior year, you know, being told that I wouldn't graduate, being told that I wasn't going to be anything, and knowing how I had that fight. And I can think, you know, I can look back on many days while I was in boot camp, you know, that I literally wanted to quit and dug deep. You
Mhm.
know, the last mile up, you know, the crucible, you know, is brutal. You know, and there was many times I wanted to quit, dragging a man with me and wanted to quit and still made it. Um, so that's like a combination of all of that stuff is kind of what or how I got the vision I have now, you know, as far as coaching and speaking and helping people and this whole entrepreneurship stuff. I don't know if that answered your question or not. That was a long way.
No, it did, and I'm just curious. So the fire is still burning, right? You still feel the flame.
If I was to be honest, no.
Okay.
It's do I believe that it's there? Yes.
Okay.
Because I feel like that part of the fire is just who I am.
Okay.
Like I know I got that fight. Like I'll go out just trying to pinch you if I have to. I'm at least I'm gonna do something to the end,
Right.
you know. But do I feel like when I look back and I can remember Earl saying that I wouldn't graduate, that I was gonna end up in prison like my brother.
Mm.
That emotion that I had behind that and that drive, I don't feel that. Or when it was those hard days and I just wanted to quit in boot camp, I don't feel that. But I know the capability is there because I've done it before, you know?
So when you were in corporate before, you were doing very well, right? You were had a great job, you had money coming in, you were living a good life, right?
Yeah, it was decent.
Right. And did that happen overnight for you?
No, and I've been thinking about that, man, because like I was almost like a prodigy, dude, really, in its own right, because I went there and boom, within like 8 months, you know, I moved actually 6 months, I moved up. And then within 8 months, I had moved up again. 10 months, I was part of the actual management team in less than a year. Boom, 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 boom. And it was unheard of. People like, what in the hell? And I can remember, you know, just going in and I would see the upper management and just remember my mom used to always tell me, man, act as if. So, and I worked from home and now I was going into the office. Now it's like, okay, here's corporate world. Boom. So I see the upper management. I'm coming in. We just required to dress casual, but y'all coming in business. Okay, next day, okay, I'm coming in my suit. What you doing? Oh, I'm finna learn your job and I'm finna move you up. You ready to move up? Like I'm finna move you up. And that was my goal. Like, all right, I'm finna learn it and we finna go. Let's go. Could nobody beat. And that was my mentality. Like it was like I'm coming in, I'm finna beat everybody. Like I'm the hardest working person here. Like it's like no harm against you, but I'm good. I'm finna shine. I
Mhm.
want it.
I feel that. How so the effort was there, right? You were making the effort, it was happening, you were giving all of yourself. So I'm just curious if you were being honest with me, the listeners, yourself right now, how much effort do you feel like because we mentioned that we're both having, some daily struggles. And, I'm going to share with you kind of what I'm doing with my struggles, but I'm just curious, what are your efforts looking like? Are your efforts looking, because I know, what was the phrase you used? Um, your dreams are only as big as your actions.
Oh yeah, take action as big as your dream.
There you go. Take action as big as your dreams. So,
Man, this how you finna do me in front of everybody, all these people. Um,
yeah.
shit.
Because you've taken,
I
because
mean,
I've watched you take some pretty bold actions since I've known you, right? And
yeah,
and that's, and that's what has inspired me and others to move forward in our lives. So it doesn't, I'm just curious of your efforts as you sit here now, if you feel like when your struggles are as a result of maybe the efforts that you're not making, or are the struggles as a result of your efforts and not seeing the results, based on the things that you're doing.
it's a little bit of both because at the end of the day, it's inaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I guess I like to answer your question, man. If I had an employee working for me and they had to do my day to day, my day to day duties, I would fire them hands down. They would get fired anywhere if they took the work ethic that I'm having now towards my own business. If it was translated over to another person and that was their day to day and I had to evaluate that, hands down, first day, you're done.
Hmm. How does that feel when you say that?
Crazy. Because it's like, wow, like, that. Like, better, and it's crazy because you're sitting there like, okay, this is where I'm at. How in the hell did I get here? And I thought about that a little bit too.
Hmm.
And it just kind of bring me to like that puzzling piece, because I think I equated to like, man, over there in the corporate world, it had a structure already. It had a framework already.
Hmm.
And then over here, it's like I can build, like, you give me a structure and I can do it. Okay, these are the rules. And over here, it's like you kind of don't have any rules. You make them as you go. And you really, really want it to be successful. And then you just get stuck because you're like, okay. And that's the part of it. And then it's like, well, shit, how do I get that fire for my own? It's crazy and this is what I help people with, not like, man, you don't have to go in there and do it for somebody. You can do it on your own.
Hmm.
Like, I can help somebody through it all day long, but when I'm here by myself, and it's different. I'm just the average person and I go through the same shit I help people with, and I'm just in that dark, like, honestly, I'm in that dark space right now where you digging deep. And do I think I'm gonna be here forever? No, but it's fucking ugly.
And you're not that average guy. I mean, I hear you say that, and I hear you like lowering your standards to meet kind of where you're at right now, and that's not true. I mean, I know enough about you in the time we've been together, and we started this, what, 2 years ago. May
Yeah,
2017 is when we decided to venture down the road of becoming a health coach. So
yeah.
that took us what, 6 months of learning, or longer, training, practicing. 6 months. So now you're a year and a half, maybe a year and three quarter, or less than that, maybe 14 months of actually taking actions, right? Doing things that others have identified as routes to try to be successful. Some of them you've had some success, some of them you haven't. Um, and when I'm hearing you saying these things, I'm reflecting upon myself um, because I am committed to like daily actions, and I'm failing a lot. I wouldn't say failing. I guess failing is not the word I really want to use. I'm not getting the results on a regular basis that I would expect based on the things that I'm doing. But I also know that that's okay, because any one of those conversations, workshops, whatever I'm continuing to do every day is keeping me going in the right direction. and allowing me to continue being, the best version of myself. But it's also giving others space in their lives to just learn, to grow, and not knowing what that might turn out to be. It could just be, somebody that you've already touched in your life at the live event that you were up on stage and inspired somebody, and now they're doing great things in their life, partially because of what you've done. And that's why we continue to do it. We have to. And I read this. I was reading a quote. I think it was this morning. It just said, "Keep failing until you succeed." And that kind of inspires me to, not do things in a half-assed way that I'm, going to not be successful, but just to come from a place of love and passion and spirit and all these things that I know you are, and to make that your driving force, just to be yourself, just to be in engage with others, to show all of who you are, and know that that's your niche is going to come out. People, you're going to naturally come up with who the people you're going to work with, because they're going to be knocking on your door wanting to get more of that from you. So I think you're searching for something you already have. I think the challenge is, I think sometimes you maybe set it a little further away and make it a little bit more difficult to attain, because you're not getting the immediate results you're looking for. And again, we've only been this in 2 years. I mean, how old are you now?
39.
39.
Yeah, 39. Yeah.
And
Well, man, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I'm sitting here and like it's not so much as like the results, or I'm not seeing the results or anything like that. Because for me, that'll be a win just to experience that a little bit at this point.
mhm,
It's because I think what happened, man, is I hit a dark spell, and then there was a long pause in between. And where I fell off track, looking back, is all of my routines stopped. All of the like I got so low to my the things that have became habit, I broke those habits.
mhm,
And now on the inside, it feels like I'm back at square one, having to, like, prime example, you get up, and it's an off day, where in the beginning, working full time, boom, I get off and it's like, all right, cool. I'm still going to put an hour in, let's go. And I've gotten out of that habit now, and it's like, shit, I'm tired. I've been stressed out. I'm ready to quit this place. And, I got more month than money. And, and then it's, man, I just need to relax. I'm just finna watch some Grey's Anatomy, and then the next day coming, now you're back at work, and it's that cycle. And that's really where it's at now. Like, okay, fighting and digging to get back to where that why is, where you can feel that why.
mhm.
Like, I know it's there. I understand it, see the picture. I just don't feel it anymore.
Right. But you believe in it still, and it's somewhere. It's just not in your awareness, or not something you feel is tangible at this point.
Yeah, it's almost like I just have to rewire the brain again, like I did before, and it's just trying to figure out that mapping to get, like where we hear and we tell people, especially coaches, you know, you think about the money, and it's like, okay, don't worry about that. Who are you being?
Right.
And I guess that's where it is now, like trying to focus on who am I being, and I guess I've hit that new place, that new level of discovery now, trying to discover who I am now after, because you fall and you have a scar, and it's like, okay, well, who am I now after going through this? Who was I being? Like, okay, evaluating everything, and it's like, okay, let me rediscover who I am,
Mhm.
and all of that, still trying to get everything going, So yeah, I guess that's more it. Trying. Hmm.
So who are you? What do I need to know about Cedric Edison?
Um, I'm a man with good and loving intentions, caring, I care for the world. I'm willing to help, willing, I'm an inspiration. When I'm at my best, I'm one of the greatest inspirations to the world. Um, and I'm a father that's learning. uh, yeah, because all the other stuff doesn't matter. All the other stuff I've done. Um, but at the core, that's what people need to know. Because you don't need to, it's an extra to know the story. That's all a part of it. But underneath that, you know, that's who I am.
Okay. And what do you feel like you have a purpose for yourself in this, and as you sit here right now? What's your purpose? What drives you to do things in a way that is purposeful for you?
At this point, man, I guess I could say it's pretty vague. It's my purpose. I feel and believe my purpose is to help people
Mm-hmm.
um, live a better life. Now, exactly how I help, and now I'm understanding it more. I'm a coach, and that's how I can do it. Um, and
Yeah.
that's where that goes.
I think first
Trying
of all, you're a human being, and I think maybe set the coach part aside and just be you. You know, because you just shared with me, who you are and your purpose, and you don't have to necessarily tie that to being a coach. I mean, although there are parts of who you are you carry over into being a coach, I think right now, I think just stepping back and just connecting to you and who you are and what your purpose is, and letting the coach part of it kind of flow into your life as it will, and get yourself, in a position where, the Cedric that I know, the Cedric that many people know, is the Cedric that shows up 99% of the time, knowing that there's going to be those tough days, knowing there's going to be those, days that, you don't know where to start, you lose your kind of focus, all those things that come up, these little, these daily struggles that can turn into weekly struggles and turn into monthly struggles. And then we just get in this pattern of almost that comfort of being miserable, but being okay with it because we know how to be miserable. It's almost like that. We want to be successful. The challenges that go along with being, an amazing father, amazing, friend, an amazing coach. All these things are reachable, but sometimes, and I'm not necessarily saying that this is you right now, but you, the listener that may be listening. Sometimes we, default to behaviors that serve us well because we know what the result is. Gets into the habits that we have, and the beliefs behind those, the beliefs that go along with that, and then the behaviors that are, driven by those beliefs and actions and habits that we have in our life. So um, I just think it's good for all of us, including myself, when we're, having this conversation about the daily struggles, and just, where am I losing connection to, the original starting point, and starting there. And I know you're doing some of that, and just building up or realizing there's already a foundation there. I think it's not necessarily for you. I don't agree with you saying that, you need to start from square one. I think you've got square one, two, and three as a foundation of, in your life. And I think you need to know those things and remind yourself of those things. And then you're building on top of that. You're building new habits, you're building new strategies, you're building, you're tapping into your creative side to actually do something different, right? And then getting different results. And I think that's where, we have to kind of get out of our own head, including me, and just to not just think that because we're working hard that we're going to get the results or the, kind of the feelings that we're looking for as a result of that. So, because I'm hearing a lot what you're saying, and I'm not sitting here thinking, well, gosh, I've got this figured out, and Cedric, you're struggling. I've got zero clients right now, and I'm okay with that, knowing that I'm taking a lot of actions in different ways. So I know that there's other ways to go about what I'm doing, and I'm open to that. And I think you have to kind of think about, you know, I guess the knowing that you've already got pieces of your life, foundational things there. All is not lost. You can go back to maybe, some things that you need to remind yourself of and reconnect with, and reestablish, that importance in your life, your morning rituals, your daily rituals, those things that maybe you've, moved away from slightly. But I don't think those necessarily, and this is just me talking, that those are necessarily things that you need to relearn. I think it's just revisiting and just tapping back into those things that you are still connected to. There's just not as much of a strong connection as there once was. Because it, Cedric. You know the man you are. You know the power you have with your voice. You know the leading of in your life, leading with your heart, and showing the sides of you, the side of you that the people want to hear about. The people want to, they want to connect to your story. They want to hear how they can learn how to do things differently in their lives. And those people are out there, and they're needing somebody like you to connect to. But I think it's still, we always have to kind of move back in our lives to, and this is for me as well, it's just that daily connection with ourself. And how is that conversation? How is that inner dialogue going? If there's that struggle and conflict there, or uncertainty that doesn't feel right, that's where your work is right now. It's not moving outside of that and thinking these other things are going to fall into place. And that's my work too. These words are coming out of my mouth, and I'm like sitting here listening and like taking note for myself that these are the things that I have to do as well. And you listeners out there might, kind of understand a little bit more about yourself, saying, wow, those are some things I'm hearing them say, and I hear myself giving other people advice on things, and those are the things that maybe I'm not connecting to as much in my life. And you mentioned that earlier, Said. When you're coaching, you're doing these things to bring out, inspire others, and then you're still kind of struggling yourself. So I know I just said a whole lot, and I apologize.
Nah, you good, man. I'm like taking it in. It's been a while since we did one of these.
Well, and I think these are, I think there's times where we have these conversations that, as we went from, scripted questions to, topics that resonate with us, to just something that comes up in the day. And I think not that our other conversations aren't real and vulnerable and all those things that go along with it. I think, but these type of conversations are happening as we speak. They're not anything that we've thought about, going into the conversation, or feel like we're gonna come up with something that's going to be, necessarily insightful. It's just living life in the moment, just showing where we're at, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's real authentic, baby. Just chopping it up in the man cave. Oh
So I'm
man.
curious if there's a challenging step that you can commit to here in front of me, in front of those maybe listening in. I'd love to hear you, commit yourself to something that's going to be, kind of an anchor that we can all hold for you, hold that space for you, and feel and experience just as you move forward. that this is something you maybe are able to kind of let go of a little bit?
Hmm. Man,
I mean,
it's
you've done 100-day challenge, so
yeah.
you can challenge yourself to something that doesn't feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this.
I, well, because it's like a couple of things came up. The first thing, and I was like, all right, go ahead and put it out there, is to get back to my morning routine, which is
Mhm.
literally just having a set time that I wake up
Mhm.
and allow myself some space in the morning.
Mhm.
Um, so I guess that would be probably, I guess you can almost say the tangible thing I could do.
Mhm.
Um, but then on the other side is to try and not try, but loosen the grip that I have around self doubt and rigidity, like and not be so rigid.
Mhm.
That's a real big weakness of mine. Like I structure, like it has to be structure, and I feel like if I can, what I got away from this is if I can separate from that self doubt
Mhm.
and the rigidness, then I'll be free to just try, along with getting back to a morning routine, because that'll ultimately be my work time. All right. Now I'm back in a routine. I'm talked with me. I'm thankful I'm up. Let's go.
Mhm.
You know. And another one, I'll throw another physical one in there because that's where it got me started. I'll go back to the basics. Just starting out doing 25 pull-ups and 10 pull-ups and 25 push-ups. That's it. Yeah.
And I know you know this, and I'm just sharing this with the listener. I mean, we oftentimes know what we need to do, right? It's just, why are we not taking action? And I mentioned earlier, sometimes because the action itself is going to potentially create a different result, and then we might then have to raise expectations, raise the bar, work harder, maybe let go of something to in order to move forward. And those can be scary things for us as human beings to sometimes deal with. So even these simple things that you're mentioning, they're not simple. These things that you're mentioning and wanting to commit to, Cedric, are things that obviously mean something to you. They don't have to mean anything to anybody else but you. And I think that's where, these daily struggles maybe become less. And I guess I would challenge you to think about the struggles that you have, are they actually real? Are they, is it something that, when you're saying, this is what's happening, or this is who I am, is that in fact true? Or is it something that you have kind of bought into because of the circumstances?
Mm.
I see that side of you knowing who you are. And then I think when you struggle, you lose sight of who you are, and you then kind of, shrink down, and you feel this grip that you mentioned, of life just kind of holding you back. And that's the decision you're making, right? It's just, I think, maybe make more conscious decisions versus some of these unconscious decisions that we can make, especially as men, because we don't want others to think that we're weak, or perceived as weak, or we have struggles, or we can't figure it out on our own. And that's why we have these conversations, because again, as I'm sitting here, kind of, I wouldn't say on the upside of what you're talking about, I connect with many of the things that you're saying, and they continue to be some of my similar struggles. And we have to kind of be willing, as friends, as men, as just human beings on this earth, to not just accept this, and we've talked about this, that this is it, right? This isn't it.
See.
I mean, this is it because we've allowed it to be it. So if we want something different, then we've got to commit ourselves to doing something different. And it could be small, subtle, little steps that you're taking every day and committing to that, to where the struggles become lesser. And when you do struggle, it's just a phase, and then becomes just a moment of struggle. And then, those periods become lesser and lesser, and you learn how to deal with the struggles, because they're going to come still, right? Maybe not in your
Yeah.
coaching career, maybe not in your, in your relationship, but it could come as a result of, a death in the family, or a loved one that is a disservice to you in your life, or something, whatever struggle that might be. It could be a wide variety of things. Those things are going to come. And I think the more we can practice when these come up, just, process them in a way where, we're not devaluing them. We're trying to learn from them, and establish maybe some better methods to cope in a more present manner, and not, kind of have to disappear and not show up. I think that's the challenge, right? Because I can do that. I can easily go down that same road and struggle as well.
Yeah. We all hit it at some point
Yeah.
in different levels. I mean, that's life. That's the journey. That's the part we got to learn to enjoy.
And I love that you said that, because that's the truth, right? If we don't have these struggles, we don't have, when we succeed, and there's going to come a day soon that we're going to have an amazing conversation about successes in whatever area of life that might be. And we're going to say, God, remember that conversation we had about just daily struggles? I mean, those are becoming less and less for me. Or when they come up, I'm able to navigate in a different way that I never have before, because I'm not creating the same conditions that created the same result before. I'm doing something different, and I'm getting different results. And it feels good to not have to kind of be in the same boat that I was 6 months ago, and knowing that I'm not going to be in the same boat 6 months later.
Yeah. Oh man. Man.
And I love the fact that you just, you're willing to just step up and just share that. I know when I early on said something, you kind of felt like, wow, in front of everybody, we're gonna talk about this. And yeah, I think that's my open invitation to you always, is to, we're not trying to put each other in a situation where we are going to have that challenge of expression, right? It's just more, if that's what comes up as a result of asking a question, then that's where our work is. And I think your willingness to step into that and experience that and share the way you did, is inspiring for me, because that keeps me, kind of motivated to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, man. It's wow. Man, I done gained a lot. Super grateful because, and that's what I love about coaching, man, is how we're able to help people. And it's a beautiful thing. We just ask questions. And you brought that out because I'm thinking, as you ask the question, I already know the answer. Like, damn, I'm not doing anything. So it's just like, wow, really, man? Like, you gonna coach me for real, for real? Like, okay.
Maybe you weren't ready for the answer, right? Maybe you weren't ready to have that question answered, because you felt maybe a little bit better being stuck right now. But that's not you.
And, and I think we toy with it on our own too,
Yeah.
and it's a lot easier to skip to the next question. But when you're in that scenario, like you being coached or whatever, just having a conversation, not really even being coached, you just ask a question like, all right, well, what it is. It's like, shit. It's hard to, when we hear you having that conversation one-on-one with another human, it's hard to
Right.
get around that, you can't.
Right. And I think you've heard this asked before. It's asking ourselves or others that question, what question do you hope I don't ask? And that was kind of the question that I asked, right? Maybe a question that you weren't really ready for, that you weren't, you weren't expecting. And that might've been the question that was the best question to ask you at that point, because you had to be honest and real and be in the moment, and that's what you did.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, man. Not being afraid to ask the right questions. Appreciate that, man. For real, for real. Appreciate y'all even listening to all my BS. But that's what I mean. Like when when you hear me say, dude, I'm not saying like I think I'm an extraordinary dude, but I'm average because I have emotions, just like the average person out there. Like pissed off, I have dark times. Like when it come to that, like on that inside, I ain't no different than nobody else. I'm just an average dude, and that's what I like about this, because we just two regular dudes. Like, it's nothing. We don't have two brains, or we just we just two men out here. Like
And Cedric's right. I mean, if this just allows you to have a better engaging conversation with your spouse, your daughter, your son, whatever might, or with yourself even. I mean, I think that's right. And this isn't always. I mean, this is about obviously us engaging in a conversation with each other, but what's sometimes even more of value or more detrimental is that inner dialogue. It's like what type of conversation are we having with ourselves? So I mean I mentioned to you that, Cedric, several times in this conversation is what that's where it has to start, right? None of this other stuff outside of us is going to mean anything unless we're continually keeping our cup full, putting that oxygen mask on ourselves before we're able to help others. All those analogies of making sure that we're taking care of us, not in a way that's being selfish, but just making sure that we're coming from a place of wholeness, so that when we are able to connect and give others part of who we are, it's whole. It's not that lesser version of us, because we're in our own heads or in our own shit. We can't really function or express ourselves in a way that's authentic. So love it.
Yeah, I can dig it. Hope y'all can dig it.
Yeah, this is good conversation. And again, I know we put it out there. Any other things that you as a listener, when you listen into us, that that resonate with you, we'd love to hear some comments from you. Just kind of just some thoughts around that, topics that may resonate with you. And we've invited people in. We've had a couple people that say, "Hey, I'd love to come on your channel." And that may be you that's listening in right now, but we're open to anybody coming into the cave. This isn't exclusive to men. This isn't exclusive to anybody other than engaging in an authentic conversation and bringing that part of you that wants to be vulnerable, be open, and hear each other in a way where we can kind of explore opportunities to grow in individually, as well as grow as human beings. So appreciate you guys listening in. Cedric, as always, you showed up in a big way today, not knowing what this conversation might lend itself to. And I truly appreciate that side of you that I know is kind of peeking behind the curtain right now, that wants to come out and be on stage and show up all the time. And I know that's just around the corner. Just appreciate you showing up and engaging in an authentic conversation, a real conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you getting it out of me, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all listening. And I guess until next time, huh?
Till next time.